Dragon's Dogma 2 is out very, very soon. I'm obviously very excited for this game. I haven't played the first one, and I want to know about the second one. The best way to find out is through IGN, as they have a review right now, and I'm very excited to do a Lord of Reacts on this. So let's jump to it right now. And obviously the hype's already there. Look at it.
In a way, Dragon's Dogma 2 reminds me of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2. Which
Evil Dead again. We're talking about Evil Dead again.
of his first cult classic comedy horror movie than a sequel. The much bigger budget allowed Raimi to really dial in his true vision for Ash's Bad Night with the Bad Book. Like Evil Dead 2, Dragon's Dogma 2 doesn't stray too far from the blueprint that turned it into a cult classic of its own over the past decade.
It kind of looks like Monster Hunter right now. Like Monster Hunter World, when you see the big, large creature and it's running away and you're chasing with your friends, or co-op experience. Kind of looks like that right now. Let's keep going.
Keeping its second-to-none action.
It is done by Capcom, so it's very similar. They could be the same case in the gameplay, but a little bit different. Maybe more fantasy-like than Monster Hunter was. That could be the appeal here.
Design, and vague but robust and alluring world as its centerpieces. Like the 2012 original, it is unforgiving out of the gate thanks to brutal enemies and chaotic encounters that are not designed to
Damn, that Weber was going ham.
It's also...
So another thing about this game is that encounters just happen at any point. So you can have an encounter that's completely different from like your friend playing this game at the same time. So they play their own single-player experience and you play your own single-player experience. If something does occur, like a eagle hits you from above when you're on top of a mountain, that same eagle could strike someone that's in a cave and create this whole different environment of a fight to kill that opponent. So that's kind of interesting.
High levels of janky. All of its systems seem precariously fitted
Every game janky these days. The jankiness actually leads to a better game sometimes.
Together with the fragility of a well-pruned Jenga tower. Yet, remarkably, it never falls over. And its open-ended design allows for a barely controlled chaos that makes some of its inconveniences
that person getting pounded.
Intentional. Almost.
Yeah, nice. The thing about this game is, I feel like it won't be too crazy compared to like the first one. In that sense that it's expanding the story. I think it'll be much more similar to the first one, but just better. Like, way better. Because the higher budget's involved and Capcom's fully, you know, brand new game, going crazy, game of the year contender possibly. It's going to be insane. So that's what I'm expecting here. That if you've never played Dragon Dogma 1 in any capacity, that this experience here, just jumping into it straight away, will be a lot of fun for any player that's interested in this game. Even if they haven't played the first one. Medusa.
This vast new dark fantasy
they turned
world
around. Can they
is
still
dense
get
with
frozen when they turn
unbeaten
around?
paths to wander down and secrets to find. Many of these will never make themselves known to you if you don't go out of your way to look for them.
Well done.
This game has a lot of roaming. And since you're not having like a fast travel system between every point that you can actually interact with, you will honestly have to walk certain distances. And during that distance or that path, you'll find some stuff on the way. That's how it seems like.
Early on, simply walking from quest point to quest point
there you go,
through
right now.
forests or dusty crags is a huge risk, as the wilds of Dragon's
Dogma
Dogma 2
he got jumped by
are
orcs.
filled with creatures who would love to make you lunch.
It's a Lord of the Rings vibe when you see the orcs in the gameplay.
Lots of open world games with day-night cycles stress the dangers of venturing out when the moon is high. I don't know of any other game that has a more brutal night than this one.
Oh shit. Oh, night raids. Oh no.
The lack of waypoints and map markers for the side stories really helps nail the feeling that you aren't simply a walking task bot for the world's NPCs to wind you up. But a curious member of a living, breathing place that will march on valiantly whether you find what you're looking for or not. You'll be doing lots of backtracking and exploring on foot, as there is very little way of convenient fast traveling. In the first few hours, having any squabble evolve into a rolling melee with every
that
other
weapon looks
within
nice.
a square mile
I'll have to make that weapon.
Annoyingly commonplace.
I like the color effects on it.
Skirmishing goblins
looks like
trying to keep their
too.
distance from you and harass you at range might attract the attention of an ogre who now must mosh through the combat. And
I think we just saw like multiple classes. We got the sorcerer, we had the knight, we had the warrior, we had some guy that had a twin blade, move around really quickly. I think there's multiple classes in this game. It might lead to like a crazy amount of things happening. And I believe the pawns are actually things that you create and create those NPCs that can help you. And then you designate a class towards them. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it's supposed to be from what I've seen online.
In turn, this attracts the eye of a griffin to dive bomb the encounter like a feathery wrecking ball.
So this is like Monster Hunter. We have two bosses fighting each other. That's cool.
It's a tough learning curve, but it eventually gives way to a rewarding feeling of a stronger, smarter you walking through a valley that gave you heartache 10 hours ago and navigating
the very top. So this is a mechanic in Dragon's Dogma 2, or Dragon's Dogma, where you're supposed to actually jump towards the target and actually backstab him, or stab him on the head. And this will happen multiple times as a way to make the character weaker, or the enemy that you're versing weaker. It's actually supposed to be very good.
This dynamism is present in Dragon's Dogma 2's story and quests as well. I wouldn't call the main story at large that remarkable. You play as the immortal chosen one, the Arisen, who has their heart stolen by a dragon that you will be forced to slay one day in order to save the world.
You that fiend.
It's the exact same premise as the original Dragon's Dogma, with a bit of a Game of Thrones-esque spin in the political intrigue.
I knew that would be the case.
That is...
Well, they wouldn't change too much, because what's the point? Why would you change it when this will appeal to a large new audience? Keep it the same, make it just way better experience in the gameplay. And if gameplay is better than story, for me, gameplay is always important. So I don't really care. So that's obviously a benefit. Obviously, the story's good there too. I'll listen to it. But gameplay is so important to me that if the gameplay doesn't engage me, the story alone, if it was like a really good story, wouldn't matter to me. Because the gameplay would be poor.
If not
in this case, gameplay seems like it's pretty good.
Every fantasy story has similar influences. But on a couple of occasions, Dragon's Dogma 2 takes a major turn and upends what you've come to know and expect so far. And the characters themselves gave me something to love even outside of that larger plot.
That's good.
Only the truth, as you well know.
The first time you...
So the character from Shogun, the pirate, the movie, or TV show, if you've seen it, you know. With this, it looks like the characters actually have meaning behind them. So many games these days that they added NPCs, I don't care for. I don't want to hear anything from them, I just skip. I skip that dialogue and move on to the gameplay. This character that's worth listening to, I will. This happened in the game Alone in the Dark. I feel that's a game that takes quality of your time, or knows what quality time is within gaming, and showcases it pretty well. As all the NPCs there mattered and had some type of meaning. And I enjoyed it. Like finding out little bits of information here and there. We'll talk about that after. Or maybe I have talked about that already on the channel. You'll see that video. Alone in the Dark on the channel at some point.
You walk into a city, you'll be bombarded with people who are happy to see such a capable-looking problem solver in their midst. Many of the quests that they offer you are pretty mundane RPG fare, but some at least put a twist on the genre staples by adding time limits or unclear consequences.
I don't like that. Unclear consequences, yes, but time limits are so boring, because then you have to run and change your whole pathing just to complete that mission.
Got 3 quests at once, but if one involves
failure, you have to reset
a pack of wolves, the clock is ticking down until he becomes dinner, so you'd best prioritize.
Oh, okay. Actually, never mind. I'm cool with that. So it's not as bad. It's a pack of wolves hunting down an opponent or NPC, and you try and help them out before they end up getting killed. And that seems like it's alright. Save them before they die. It's alright. I can deal with that. Well, what type of shop is this?
Arisen is accompanied by a pawn, a sort of personal NPC sidekick whose purpose is to assist you on your journey. Pawns are invaluable because they can take on a class, which Dragon's Dogma calls vocations, and be another body in battle.
Vocations, So they do take over certain classes, and they designate to your team in some way. So that's kind of cool. The classes that you choose from, I'm unsure, but I'm guessing it's just the basic RPG ones or Dungeon Dragon ones that you choose from. And go from there.
Outside of fights, they're great for tasks like gathering resources and pointing out things of note in your surroundings. They did all these things in the original game as well, but new specializations can highlight harvesting spots in your map,
that's old school,
organize the party's inventory, or even craft.
Like even the difference between the way this looks,
they did all these things in the original
and then
game
alongside that, the graphics of the new gameplay
party's
is
inventory,
so that's
or
good to see.
Even craft on their own, which means they can add so much more value this time around.
I'd gladly see you put what I find to good use.
Pawns can even be sent off to join other players on their adventures, learn from their experiences, and bring back items and knowledge to share with you. This clever asynchronous multiplayer system was groundbreaking in 2012.
Oh, I get it.
And feels just as innovative in 2024 because there's still not much out there like it.
So what the idea is that you can send your pawn to go towards another player or another person you have in your friends list or someone online that you know of, send it towards them and go through another adventure. They go through their own adventure. They come back with hopefully more information about what happened there for you to use in the future if you ever go down that path in the world of Dragon Dogma 2. I think that's the goal there. Could be wrong. That's really interesting.
They aren't always a boon though. I'd never want to leave shelter without
and maybe you get some loot out of them.
But thanks to
well.
inconsistent AI, pawns can get themselves into all sorts of trouble.
Oh no. This would be annoying.
Get isolated by enemies and picked off, which means you need to run to their unconscious bodies to revive them, or they'll poof out of your world.
Yeah. I don't know if they actually just die completely, but I'm guessing they do. After a certain period of time, if you don't actually revive them, they're automatically just dead. And you have to create a new pawn and have a new pawn start from fresh experiences. So like level 1, it goes up from there. I'm thinking that's how it works, because I'm not thinking that you can have a level 30 pawn or whatever the level is for them, or whatever category of gear they can have, and keep that or retain that after they die in any capacity.
I've had pawns die in pretty silly ways, mostly by falling off of narrow bridges because they made the terrible choice to fight in the middle of them.
Ah, okay.
You can command them to help you, wait in place, etc., but these orders
the blades look really nice.
And they'll take their
that's the same twin blade or spear
time
now
to follow them.
But it has same like weapon skills on the bottom right. Reminds you of Monster Hunter, the exact same way. Sword and sorcery, nice. Now with weapons, hopefully,
Usually
classes.
Pawns are at least competent though, and they ensure that combat is king in Dragon's
Flame
Dogma
Sword.
2.
That.
When it clicks, it is peerless among his action RPG contemporaries. The swinging, shooting, and chopping feels solid and satisfying every time you make contact.
Wait, is that his own werewolf? Nah, it's enemy.
How you fight naturally depends on your vocation, and fans of this series will be relieved to find out that other than separating the melee and ranged portions of the old Strider class into 2 separate options, the returning vocations are just as excellent and diverse as they were in the previous game.
Good, very good, very good. I heard about a vocation that has the aspect of like smoke, and he's able to put like smoke screens, and it's more supportive, but it looks kind of an interesting class. I heard about that like maybe a couple months ago. It looks like a meme class, but it looks like a fun one too. So maybe that's something we could play on day 1 or through the second playthrough. Depends.
Expressive animations and skill diversity ensure that even if a vocation
animations
has a singular role it can play in battle, there's more than one way to play it.
I'm seeing Monster Hunter more. Look at it. I see Monster Hunter. It's stripped me out.
Of the new vocations, the Mystic Spearhand is my
There's
favorite.
like an 8-player Monster Hunter that you control all the pawns, or have to utilize what pawns you want depending on the battle they're in. I'm guessing you can change them, or need to change them at some point to get different capacities or different abilities to use within the fight who you're fighting. I'm guessing though.
It prioritizes closing distance and burst offense over impenetrable defense. Another standout, the Trickster uses
that's the one I was talking about. This one here
to make enemies fight each other.
That's Smoke Guy, Trickster.
Is the you smoke too tough, your swag too different meme in physical form.
There you go, there you go. That's the 420 class.
No matter your vocation, there's a huge Monster Hunter influence on combat as well.
There we go. Monster Hunter, I did say that it's a huge influence on this, and Monster Hunter being the more recent successors of Capcom, and this coming back into the gameplay experiences, it's pretty much like Monster Hunter meets fantasy, and all Dungeons and Dragons. That's pretty much what it is right now. It looks really nice. I enjoy it.
Chunk of the combat
I don't mind it at all.
At Capcom works on both series. Large monsters and even smaller ones have many possible targets of interest on their body, like a Cyclops' eye or a Saurian's tail.
Oh, they have the body parts situation too. Targeting body parts in order to do more damage.
More regularly,
or cut off body parts.
Off, completely altering the enemy's attack patterns and possibly granting more loot. I rejoice in how impactful choosing to spend the effort to take these kinds of advantages always felt, especially when you're fighting groups of big enemies and need to thin the herd quickly.
Oh, what? Did the bridge collapse? And then it actually killed the ogre? Can you still use his bridge for future reference, or just gone? Like, can you rebuild it? So you still have traversal, or that's just gone completely? That looks like it's just gone.
On the other hand, I don't approve of how janky climbing enemies feels, something you'll be doing often to bring larger foes down to size.
This has always been janky.
It's easy to get disoriented while climbing through no real fault of your own, and if the monster jumps into a...
There's most likely a bar as well, depending on how long you stay on their back and move around and also hit, you'll fall off. So I'm guessing that people are trying to climb certain creatures in a certain way, and they're not climbing correctly, and then they just fall back and go back to a ground state. I guess that's what's going.
Pressures you against the wall, the camera reveals itself as having been the true villain all along, making it absolutely impossible to see what's going on for as long as
I can't see shit. I can't see shit there. That's no issue. That's absolutely no issue.
I have taken big
just
damage
true
or even
jankiness.
died because I was body blocked by my foes, and that has never been a good way for a fight to end.
Wait, getting body blocked by AIs, that's a bit annoying. But I'm guessing just like get used to it, you know, get good.
Even if I'm not getting bullied out of the shot, as the numbers of the combatants pick up, you can watch the frame rate slowly diminish.
Oh, it means like that.
For a game where success in combat can be so heavily dependent on timing your attack.
Depending what this is played on, I'm going to be playing on PC. I'm hoping that this is not an issue. I know that PlayStation and I believe Xbox that's coming out on, it's locked to 30 FPS as the highest capacity. I'm hoping PC doesn't have this and it can be uncapped so I can just enjoy it at a crazy degree. So I don't have to deal with this situation. Because I feel like that could deteriorate some of the experience for some players. But it is a single player game, not an FPS, so it shouldn't be too bad. But for my sake, I'm playing on PC, so maybe it's better for me. Don't know. We'll find out.
Blocks, and dodges. Never got too bad for me, but it was noticeably
I didn't go bad at all then.
Which made a game that can be hard to read due to all the things going on screen at once, just that much more illegible.
Okay. Understandable. Fully understandable. Oh, the verdict. Let's see. Let's see what they give this.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
I'm expecting like an easy 8 out of 10 here. Maybe going towards a 9. I'm going to say 8 out of 10 from this review. Doesn't seem like there was too many negatives towards it. It just seems like a bit of jankiness. That's pretty much it. And getting good. And FPS being a bit of an issue. Anything else seems like it's all good.
Is a strange and wonderful game that seems haunted by some of yesteryear's bugaboos. It is a retelling and re-implementation of all of those wonderful ideas from the 2012 cult classic, including an awesome dynamic world and some of the best combat in the genre.
Nice.
On the other hand, its finicky ally AI, clunky climbing, choppy frame rate, and camera with a habit of going haywire at the worst times are all features I wish hadn't been brought back for another round. Even so, there's an action RPG here that is richly rewarding and incomparable to its contemporaries if you can be patient with its quirks.
I told you 8 out of 10. I knew it. I absolutely knew it.
And quest design.
Like a 9 out of 10 would be without the jankiness and the good AI. That's what would be an easy 9 out of 10.
For more on the technical side, check out our full performance review of Dragon's Dogma 2. Or for an action alternative, our review of Outcast.
Let's not. But that seems like a really good time. So, good IGN review. 8 out of 10 for this game is stunning. And I feel like it has great benefits. Because you can create such unique experiences here and have a lot of fun. And I think that's the most important part. Creating those experiences, talking about it with your friends, and having a great time in this universe. There is no true co-op experience or online experience. I know there was a failed game in this universe that was based online that never actually continued. If that was the case now, they made a Dragon's Dogma 2 online in some capacity, this game would go crazy. I think just let alone that same ideology, it would be 9 out of 10 easily. Or even a 10 out of 10 because of the amount of fun you can have with your friends. In this case right now, it's a single player experience, which I don't mind actually, and I can just enjoy it. Why not? So, a lot of fun to be had here. Can't wait to do a full live stream on this, so make sure to keep an eye on that. We'll be live streaming as soon as we can and highlighting our experiences. And hopefully have a lot of fun with this, because that's the goal. That is truly the goal. If you mates are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button, show us support in any way. And as always, mates, it's been a pleasure, and I'll catch you mates next time. Bye-bye.